What's going on, gang? How's everybody doing tonight? Friday night. I'm back with a special one for y'all tonight. Let me set this chat up real quick. Turn on all messages. How's everybody's weekend going so far? Shout out all the supporters in here. Shout out all the viewers. And shout out all my slimes in the chat. Drop those snakes for me. So I got a question for y'all. How many of y'all in here believe in another intelligence on this earth besides human beings? And I believe that there's so much evidence out there right now, testimonies, etc., that it's insane. And I just want to share a little tiny piece of it with y'all that, they've been talking about recently. So, y'all know the government, they just made a website, .gov website, where they're releasing tons of UFO pictures, classified stuff that we've never ever seen before. And they released 4 batches of files so far. So with that being said, they try and disclose something to us. The question is it the truth this time? Because they've been hiding this shit from us also for a long ass time, and I'm gonna show y'all right now. So shout out to this congressman right here, because we need people in high places to get us the truth. So this congressman right here, he asked the CIA and the FBI to get him files to this UFO crash that happened in Brazil in 1996, because it's one of the most famous UFO crashes. They call it the Roswell crash of Brazil, that got a lot of eyewitnesses. People died from this incident. Allegedly they say a body was brought to the hospital that wasn't human. We gonna watch all that stuff, and y'all gonna get the information for yourself, because I'm not trying to drip feed y'all anything. But anyways, as you see, the congressmen seek CIA, FBI help on Brazil's alleged 1996 UFO crash. So they're like, since you guys are releasing all this evidence with no context, we don't know what the hell is going on, just these pictures, orbs, ships, all kind of crazy things, but you're not giving us no context about it. Won't you release some of this stuff that we know that happened? We have eyewitnesses to. We have a doctor that's going to speak up and say that, he took care of the patient. Somebody else passed. Let's get into it, y'all. But before I even start this video, this is the body right here of the alien. I'm going to show you this after we watch the video. But this is a VHS footage right here of the person in Brazil who first found this thing. I'll let y'all guys decide in y'all head if y'all believe this is real or not. Now, this wasn't taken last year, last week. This was taken in 1996 on a VHS tape.
A first glimpse of this being.
And was
You can see
hidden.
there are the 2 red eyes, and it's laying in the fetal position. If you look between...
All right, so before we get into the story, I want y'all to hear this real quick, that them admitting that there is alien bodies in possession of the government before we start that video. Ready?
Has non-human bodies in storage. Another bombshell today came from Missouri Republican Congressman Eric Burlison. He says MIT Lincoln Labs has agreed to hand over an Air Force video from 7...
So shout out, this is the dude I was telling you about, Congressman Eric Burlison, who's pushing for the truth. So he just asked, what he said, the feds or whatever, MIT, to hand over a 1952 video where they're briefing somebody on what these things are and all about them. I guess classified stuff that we're not supposed to see. So he's asking the right questions, but I'm just trying to show y'all how far this goes back. He's waiting for a video from 1952 to be handed over, and then we're about to watch some footage on a 1996 incident in Brazil.
94 years ago about a UFO briefing.
They have acknowledged that it exists and that they're in the process of getting it to us. But what my understanding is that it's of, and I forget the general's name. He's an Air Force general who's briefing MIT scientists about, I believe it's the event that happened in Washington, D.C. in 1952. So
shout out that man, Eric Burlison, right there. So he's asking MIT to send over that video where they're briefing scientists on a thing that flew over Washington, D.C. Y'all hear me? Then you got David Brush, who's, top ranking and served in the military, testifying that there's alien remains, allegedly, that we have in possession. All right, now we're going to get right to the video, y'all. We'll see this footage after of the beam, but this was about 2 days ago. Mind you, this happened 30 years ago, but just 2 days ago, this Congress, Eric Burlison, has been pushing the FBI and the CIA to give him the evidence and the documents from this case in Brazil, because it's so, widespread and so well known and well documented. But y'all see it for yourselves. Let's go. Put this shit in HD. Here we go.
In Brazil, several residents say they saw a cigar-shaped object crash.
Mind you, cigar-shaped object. That's the first thing that caught my mind. 1996, they said this. Cigar-shaped object. What did they release to us recently? Cigar-shaped objects also. I don't know.
Crash into a field. The story gets stranger. 3 teenage girls reportedly encountered a non-human being, they say, with red eyes, covered with oil.
1 second. What happened to my chat? Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of witnesses to this case. Footage. Hold on, let me see what's going on YouTube real quick. My chat's disabled. What? Dang, this shit smells good over here. Got it burning. What's going on, chat? Let me pull my chat back up. There we go. All right, the chat's working, y'all. Hit that like button. All right, we good. Somehow it got disabled, but all right.
With veins from its neck to its arms. Rumors swirled that Brazil's military captured 1 or 2 of the beings and handed them off to the CIA and the FBI. The object crashed into a field. The story gets stranger. 3 teenage girls reportedly encountered a non-human being, they say, with red eyes, covered with oil, with veins from its neck to its arms. Rumors swirled that Brazil's military captured 1 or 2 of the beings and handed them off to the CIA and the FBI. The claims have never been proven, but that hasn't stopped the decades of speculation that has helped turn this incident into Brazil's Roswell. Now, 30 years later, the mystery is once again drawing attention. Witnesses and experts recently gathered in Washington to share their accounts and call for greater transparency around it. The first witness to speak was a man named Carlos. He says he arrived at the crash site and something bizarre happened.
Nesse momento, estava.
At that point, I was in the middle of the wreckage, and I picked up a lightweight fragment resembling aluminum foil. I crumpled it in my hand, but when I let go, it instantly resumed its shape.
Another witness was a doctor who claims he treated one of these non-human beings, an apparent survivor of the crash. He said the moment he saw it, he knew it was not human.
Its serenity and powerful presence led me to believe it had a very high
doctor.
level of intelligence and perception, higher than human beings.
Missouri Republican Congressman Eric Burlison attended the event where Carlos and that doctor made those extraordinary claims. And then just last week, the congressman asked the FBI and the CIA to release any records they have related to the case. I had the chance to speak with Congressman Burlison about why he thinks more answers are needed.
Here are 65 AI tools you have to know if you want to make a sale.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Congressman, this is arguably one of the most infamous and controversial UFO cases. It's known as Brazil's Roswell because of all the conspiracies and fascination around it. First of all, have you heard back anything from the CIA and the FBI after sending those letters last week?
I've not heard back directly. Whenever
My boy's trying to get the disclosure.
first heard about this incident, James Fox came to the Capitol. He brought some individuals with him from Brazil. I got to meet the physicians that were at the hospital. I got to meet the gentleman that was there whenever the crash first happened. And so I got to meet people, and I couldn't speak their language, but we were able to hear through a translator their firsthand accounts, and it was very interesting and compelling, especially for some people.
Like I was saying earlier, we need powerful people like this guy who's in Congress of Missouri that wants to know the truth. You know what I mean? And wants to get the truth out there.
That are risking their careers to come forward. And at that time, there was a press conference, and some agents from the FBI came up to me and said that they would be happy to investigate this event, and requested that I submit a letter. So we did that about a year ago from that press conference, and then now we're following up with not only now that President Trump has issued his statement. I think that there's a renewed energy on this topic. So we sent that letter to not only them, but the CIA.
You heard him? Now that Trump is dropping these files, they made the UFO.gov site. They bringing this case up. This was 2 days ago. Mind you, this happened 30 years ago. But just because there's so much evidence on this case, we got witnesses, we got the doctor, we got somebody that passed.
Yeah, when you talk about meeting with the doctors, the Brazilian doctors in this case, one of these doctors says he treated some non-human life form that was injured in the crash. He said it sort of looked like a small child with a teardrop-shaped head, and that it seemed to be intelligent and grateful for the medical attention.
Yeah, it was. That was what his account was. What I found interesting is that he said that the way the alien didn't speak to him, obviously, but he could sense from the alien that it was grateful, but also that the alien was, in essence, placating us, that it thought it was almost cute that we were trying to provide health care for it. And so that was something that I took away from his testimony that I thought was interesting.
How believable did you find these witnesses?
They've got a lot to risk. I mean, when you have someone who's a surgeon, who's a medical professional, who could lose his license, he could lose his ability to practice, he could be fired from the hospital that he's working at. That's really compelling. We heard from someone who was who does testing, who was testing the blood samples of one of the individuals, the military personnel, that they said that he expired because of an interaction with either the craft or the alien. And so that individual had tested and found that there was a type of bacteria or a type of microorganism that was unknown, that they could not identify, that was related to that individual's death.
This is one of the soldiers who arrived at the scene, a Brazilian.
Now, me listening to this whole story, a lot of, I haven't seen any red flags or nothing, but a lot of things are making sense. Like they said, cigar-shaped. We've been hearing and seeing a lot of these cigar-shaped, or like these, like baton-shaped things, like just straight, shaped orbs and stuff like that. Then they said, You know, the thing was oily, his skin had a rotten smell. A lot of things they saying is like stuff they talking about nowadays. How the material of the craft, you could grab it, fold it, and then it'll go back to where it was. It doesn't weigh anything. Then he said that because these beans, they're not really from where we're at. At least we don't think so. If they come near us or we go near them, we have a chance of getting sick. They have a chance of getting sick. So somebody getting like sick and passing away from it sounds about like that might be something that might
soldier
happen.
who arrived at the scene of the crash. There were several, but one of them who actually went up and touched the craft or touched these beings later died. We don't know, or did he tell you we just don't know what that bacteria is?
Have you ever wanted to see your home from
Bacteria.
space? With this free satellite
That's right. They couldn't identify the bacteria. So that's one of the things that we've requested is that the FBI, request that they exhume the body if possible. We have contacts with the Brazilian authorities, and that's something that something that we're
like, what's better evidence than that? He's like, you exhume the body? Like, did you guys have something like that? You know, serious. You guys must have, preserved the body, save some samples. Y'all want to do disclosure? Let's see something.
Also to see if that material that was tested, if that's been retained in any way.
You have described yourself as dubious when it comes to UFO conspiracy theories. You are not one of these people running around saying, there are aliens here and we need to investigate more because I believe in it. I mean, you have been very, very careful.
Allegedly, this guy didn't even believe in aliens. He went into it open-minded, and now after what he's heard, let him tell you.
About withholding any judgment. How believable, I mean, it sounds like you found these witnesses to be somewhat credible.
Yeah, and in general in this topic, I find that people believe what they experienced. I just am not someone that's going to believe it until I experience it myself. And so I don't think that people are purposefully trying to come forward and lie. I think that their motives are pretty honest. But at the end of the day, I'm in search of the truth, and I'm not going to stop until I get the cold, hard facts or the materials in my hands. And I think that that's what the American people want. Look, we've heard a lot of narratives and a lot of stories, and they make for great stories, but that's about where it ends. And I think that I think that the public wants and deserves someone that's going to pursue the real hard facts and the truth.
The witnesses that you spoke to have long alleged that the United States government arrived on the scene of this crash, of this non-human spacecraft, and took the remains or this living being with them. If that happened, the CIA would have to know about this, right?
For some reason, to me, that sounds like something the U.S. would do. Not to mention with these whistleblowers that came out, David Grush and stuff. Remember they mentioned a crash retrieval program that we never heard of till recently? What do you think they're talking about? That the helicopter came from the United States and picked this up right away? That's the crash retrieval program. I bet you it would go back. If you go back, it probably ties to David Grush and the other dude, Jake Barbara, and all them. Just like they knew about the other stories. But anyways, I believe that's why the United States came in, because they want to reverse the technology. They want to have the strongest. They got the crash retrieval program already. It's been a rumor they've been here since the 1940s, 50s, the retrieval program. And anything that falls out the sky, crashes, bodies, they come and grab it ASAP. And this has been said by the whistleblowers. And they testified in front of the judge.
One would think, and so that's one of the things that we're requesting is the flight logs to identify any U.S. military or any government planes that might have flown into that region during that window of time. We're requesting any kind of any records whatsoever that might point to any validity or validating of this story.
Because so far you don't have anything to validate what these witnesses are telling you.
So far, we've not heard back from the FBI or the CIA, but I do think that I do know that they are looking into this and they're doing their own investigations.
All right, Congressman Eric Burlison, I sure hope you hear back from the CIA or FBI soon. I know you sent those letters to the directors of each of those agencies on July 7th. It'll be nearly a week. Hopefully you'll get an answer soon. Appreciate it.
We'll let you know, Elizabeth. We'll let you know as soon as we can.
It's gonna be a crazy year, y'all. I don't know what's going on. They doing all this disclosure stuff, slow dripping us information and these files every few months. Like, if they really wanted to disclose the truth, they come out and just tell us. You know what I mean? There's stuff like this that's happened. You know what I mean? That they're not bringing up or talking about. Just showing us probably the weakest stuff they got, little just stuff flying in the air we can't explain. So this is the video that was taken on a VHS tape. He found it anonymously online. This is this thing when it fell in the woods in Brazil.
What the person is doing here at the start, because it seems like right now, okay, so this is our first glimpse of this being. You can see there are the two red eyes, and it's laying in the fetal position. If you look between this leaf, the main leaf at the front, and the one on the left, you can see it's like, I guess it's shin bone and the bottom of its foot. So it's laying in this like fetal position on the side. And it seems like the person...
What's crazy too is this is VHS. This was recorded in 1996. They didn't even have AI in it.
Has just seen it.
People laughed
and he
at
gets
it back
scared
then.
right now. Because he backs up and he's like running away. And this kind of happens for a little bit here.
So the person that witnessed it, they said they locked eyes with the thing. And they heard the thing saying, like, when they locked eyes, like in its head, help me, help me. With one person ran, the other person froze and couldn't move.
Yeah, and then the person, I guess, I don't know, gets a bit of courage and decides to turn around and go back. And I guess...
Crazy. Here's a little breakdown on the story that was like on the History
January
Channel.
20th, 1996.
January 20,
A farmer named
1996.
Oralina de Freitas was sleeping with her husband Yureko when she heard their cattle rustling outside. She got up to see what had spooked the cows and noticed a strange object in the sky. It was the size of a bus and seemed to be surrounded by billowing smoke. She woke her husband and they stared at the craft for nearly 40 minutes as it got lower and lower on the horizon before disappearing from their view. On a nearby highway around the same time, a pilot named Carlos de Souza was driving down the highway when he noticed the falling object. Believing it to be an airplane, Carlos chased the object to look for the wreckage. When he got there, he saw that the military had already arrived and were surrounding the burning wreckage. He didn't see any dead bodies, only bizarre silver shards. He was eventually asked to leave and told not to speak about what he saw. Later that day, things got even stranger.
There's so many witnesses to this case right here.
The fire
too.
department received a call from someone claiming that they spotted a strange animal walking in a forest that was nestled in between two neighborhoods.
Like people that live
According
out
to
there.
witnesses, firemen showed up to search the woods, followed by soldiers carrying guns. The sounds of two gunshots were heard, and the soldiers were seen leaving sometime later while carrying two large bags. That afternoon at around 3 p.m., two sisters named Liliane and Valkyria Fatima Silva and their friend Katia Andrade Xavier were walking home through an empty road when they spotted a creature crouching next to a wall. They ran away in fear, and when they got home, the sisters told their mother they had seen the devil.
Look, just like the footage we just seen, gang. That's a drawing. Tell me that don't look like the footage we just seen in the woods with the thing in the fetal position. It looked about 3 foot, 4 foot with red eyes.
And when they got home, the sisters told their mother they had seen the devil.
coisa estranha.
This is the real
redonda.
footage.
Nossa, tava super estranho. Ai, tinha uns negócios tipo chifre na cabeça. Tinha, assim, a pele marrom, parecendo que passou algum óleo no corpo.
Now, this is why people like Congress, Eric Burlison, wants the FBI and the CIA to release what they got on this. Because there's so much that is into this case, like different witnesses. We got the doctor that took care, that seen the alien, you know, that we got a soldier that passed away, that touched it.
That evening, Varginha was hit with a storm. At around 6 p.m., 2 police officers spotted a strange animal collapsed on the road. One of the officers, a man named Marco Cerese, picked the creature up and took it to a local hospital.
That's the
where
guy
there
that
was a
gets sick.
special quarantine area already set up.
He picked it up with
The
no
official
gloves.
explanation from the government was that this area was designated as a place for the hospital's first ever cardiac surgery. In the following days, residents reported seeing a lot of military activity surrounding both of the hospitals in the city. There were also reports of animals dying without explanation at the local zoo in the following weeks. Allegedly, the dead animals were examined in a lab where they found a bizarre toxic substance in their intestines. On February 15th, police officer Marco Cerese, who had been the one to reportedly pick up the creature, died in a local hospital. It was said that he had developed an abscess and come down with flu-like symptoms before dying of sepsis, but the doctors never found exactly what caused his symptoms. He was only 23 years old. In an interview in 2006, the 3 women who first spotted the creature said that 4 months after their encounter, they were visited by 5 men who offered them money if they would retract their statements about what they saw. Many believe that they were government agents and that all of the events that occurred during that time were covered up as part of a conspiracy. The Brazilian military...
So allegedly, them girls are saying a few days after that, some people in black suits came up to them and offered them money to say that this never happened and it was all a lie, blah, blah. And they said, nah, I can't.
...on the events and concluded that the girls had probably seen a known local homeless man covered in mud who had physical and mental disabilities. He was very thin with an abnormally large head and was known to crouch on streets. When asked, the 3 women denied this and stuck to their story.
They wanted them to say it was him. And I remember this, and for a while, the government blamed it on a crazy man because there was so many witnesses and people that seen this creature and testimony, so they said it was that skinny guy. Like, there's always a patsy, somebody that's got to take the fall or something, I noticed.
That there was increased military activity in that area, and that what people saw were just military trucks operating on their normal schedule. And as for the supposed aliens at the hospital, they explained it as people seeing a couple with dwarfism who were there expecting a baby and being helped by a soldier. Interestingly, in recent years, a document from the Ministry of Aeronautics was discovered that showed that there had actually been an earlier UFO sighting in Varginha in 1971 as well. It was spotted by a few people who said it was oval and silver and emitted a loud noise. So what exactly happened in Varginha? Without any hard evidence, it's
I want to bring
impossible
something
to say.
up that I've been thinking. Why back then there was so many saucer-looking UFOs? And now we're dealing with these orb-type UFOs. That are all different shapes. Like I said earlier, some look like bars. All different shapes they are. Some look like eyes, circles, which seem kind of more realistic. But I don't know, there's something to this.
It's worth noting that the story of the initial sighting of the creature by the 3 women was aired in a popular TV show in Brazil, and this is what led to the flurry of other purported sightings. Also, you have to put into context when this case happened. This was the mid-90s, when all of Latin America, as well as the southwestern US, were inundated with reports of a creature called the chupacabra, which is a similar alien creature who was blamed for livestock killings. The chupacabra was insanely popular at the time. There were countless news stories, and it seemed like every week there was a different sighting.
To be honest, I seen a UFO ship in the sky that I couldn't explain what it was twice in my life.
I have a suspicion that this was also an influence on the Varginha story. Today, the city has embraced their reputation as an alien hotspot and have even put up a huge water tower in the shape of a UFO.
Purely by chance, I managed to track down 3 primary witnesses who reportedly saw the live alien.
Oh, that's James Fox. He's studying it.
Hello. It's James.
He tracked down the original girls.
But this is like, the holy grail of witnesses for me. So I am like so happy to be here right now. Can you describe to us what happened in January of 1996?
Você pode descrever pra gente o que aconteceu em janeiro de 96?
A gente estava voltando do serviço que ela trabalhava.
So it was around 3 o'clock in the
story
afternoon.
change.
This was not the usual way that they would take to go back home.
E olhei, falei assim, só pra ela assim, gente, olha ali.
She saw a little creature that was really sweating. There was like a little person but with no hair whatsoever, red eyes and 3 horns. She pointed to the other girls and started running the other way.
If they all had the opportunity to speak to the world about their experience, what would they like the world to know?
Pra mim não foi boa, não. Se fosse pra me passar por isso hoje, eu não passaria.
They said it wasn't a good experience at all. If they could choose, they wouldn't go through it again.
That thing was like a demon.
Only people who have been through what they have been through can tell how they felt and how it all affected their lives.
How has it changed their lives?
Como isso afetou a vida de vocês?
See if anything changed their lives.
Em tudo. No trabalho, na escola.
She said it affected everything, like from friendships to work to school, people getting away from them, people thinking they were, crazy or something.
Alguém pode chegar, não, foi assim, pegamos e levamos para tal lugar.
She just says that she hopes that one day the whole thing will come clear and she will, her word will be taken seriously and they'll know that she was always telling the truth.
Well, I'm so grateful to have had this opportunity to meet you guys. This is why I do what I do, and I want to thank you from, bottom of my heart.
Ele está muito, muito agradecido a vocês. Para ele é um dos momentos altos da carreira dele. Encontrar vocês, conversar com vocês.
Official capacity for the
Crazy gang, that's Jake Baba. I'll show you a quick little short. It was on Joe Rogan recently too. This big thing.
Is there any conventional explanation why the military shut everything down? Why they had military barricades set up around that area?
No, they did try to say that the creature was this guy who's got like some deformities. For the doctors in the hospital, they said there was like a midget having a baby or something weird, just something that was just so ridiculous. 3 women. They got within 8 to 10 feet in broad daylight.
You know it must have been something crazy if they said a midget having a baby. What the hell?
Of this creature. When they saw this thing, they're looking like, what are we looking at here? They're walking through this field and it's up against a cinder block wall. And one of them was looking at it and said, what is that? And it was crouched by the wall. It was weak and feeble. One of them kind of like screeched. Like, what is that? And it turned and it looked right at the girls, locked eyes on them.
Yeah, they talked about this on Joe Rogan.
And he goes, it happened. Closed the door and off he went. They got within 8 to 10 feet in broad daylight of this creature. And one of them was looking at it and said, what is that? And it was crouched by the wall. It was weak and feeble. And it turned and it looked right at the girls, locked eyes on them. She's frozen in her tracks and locked eyes with this creature. And it's communicating to her, please help me. And it's a very powerful moment. And he goes, it happened. Closed the door and off he went.
Then they brought it to the hospital, came whatever, the military, the doctors worked on it. The doctor said that it looked like he wasn't talking, but it looked like he was happy that he was helping him.
Is there any conventional explanation?
That's crazy.
For context, in 1996, an extraordinary event occurred in the small town of Varginha, Brazil. Known as the Brazilian Roswell, it became famous for claims of an alien encounter. Several people said they saw strange things, including 3 young girls who reported seeing a mysterious creature. The story quickly spread around the world and became one of the most talked about.
What's crazy to me is how we got cases, you know, like this real with his witnesses, a doctor that's testifying. That goes back to 1996. We got another one where the Congress was just saying he told MIT to send him a video from 1952 where they were briefing scientists. Like, how long has these damn things been around? Have they really been on the earth for thousands of years? Because they can't be cooking up this lie the whole time. Like in 1950s, cooking up this lie to lie to us in 2026 about it. That wouldn't make no sense. But what does make sense is they've been trying to hide and disclose and classify everything. Everybody that does anything has to sign an NDA, and that's how you really disclose everything.
About UFO cases ever. For context, in 1996, an extraordinary event occurred.
So all the whistleblowers, they're careful about what they're saying because they don't want to get in trouble by the judge in court of law, sued or anything. So now they're going to make laws where these people can talk after these NDAs. If, you know,
For context, in
I was watching this documentary today about a UFO landing in Brazil in 1996. Holy shit, it's incredible. There's a city called Varginha in Brazil, and according to everyone who was there, according to medical records of people who were there, the military came in, cordoned off the area, they recovered a crashed UFO, and there was living creatures that people came in contact with, and one of them was this tiny little thing that this guy carried to wherever they were going to examine it. When he carried it, he got whatever was on its skin. It had like a slippery kind of skin. It got into his body and infected him, and he wound up with this horrible general infection. He wound up dying. His body shut down. His immune system shut down. His body didn't know what the fuck to do with this alien thing that he was interacting with. I was watching this
So there's a lot of things the CIA and FBI can get for us to, you know, help corroborate this story. Like, you know, the person that died from this stuff. Let's see the documents, the information on him, the thing he got and then passed away from at 23 days after this happened. You know what I mean? Let's see the hospital records of this thing coming to the hospital. You know, there's a lot of things they can do to, you know, prove this thing. But I doubt that.
And he's thinking about all the different. Everyone's out there speculating: is it real? Is it fake? Is it real? Is it fake? And this guy drove a body around. Just think about that for a second. Think about the doctor who took the X-rays of this thing.
X-rays.
Marco Leal. Thank you, Marco. You're the man. Marco Leal found him 8 years ago, and he was like, he confirmed the story. He was still working at Regional Hospital. He goes, I'll never come forward. Marco kept going every year back and forth. Then he retired, and 4 years after he retired, he agreed to meet with us. He wasn't even sure he was going to go on. And I said, look, man, we'll film you from the back. We'll disguise your voice. Showed us photographs of him at the hospital.
Who's gonna keep a lie that long going? 40 years?
We've been trying to get at him. Excuse me. At the end of the interview, he said, thank you. I feel so much better. I've been shouldering that burden for 26 years, and I've so desperately wanted to tell somebody. And he's thinking about all the different. Everyone's out there speculating: is it real? Is it fake? Is it real? Is it fake?
Crazy too how everybody's on point with the story. You know what I mean? But everybody enjoy y'all night. We about to lock this in. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me. What keeps happening to my damn chat? There we go. Hit that like button for me, gang. We just dropping a quick late night vid. Y'all enjoy this. I'm gonna go find something to watch on TV, kick back. Y'all make sure y'all be careful on what y'all eat. Over 33 states picked up that virus that's going around from lettuce, I guess. Taylor brand lettuce or whatever. Taylor Farm brand, they're saying. But you gotta watch out with all them vegetables you're eating. Taco Bell, Burger King. I'll be careful about vegetables at fast food places. I'll be careful at vegetables even at the grocery store. Shit, they poisoning our air, they poisoning our food. But anyways, gang, I'm getting out of here. Hit that like button for more videos. Drop a comment. Slime gang and no gang.